What's up, guys? Welcome to the Resellers Podcast with Technsports and Daily Refinement. Today we have Hustle at Home Mom with us, and we're going to talk about building a resale business with a family. So before we get started, Ashley, let us know where people can find you online.
Hey, you guys, thank you so much for having me on. I'm extremely honored. I'm too honored. Like, I cannot believe I'm even here. I'm just lucky to even be able to chat with you guys. People can find me on YouTube and Instagram mostly. I do have a very small presence on TikTok as well, but I don't know where that's going to go. I think I'm too old. But I am at Hustle at Home Mom on all platforms, and I sell on eBay and Amazon. I am still just part-time because I am most of the time a stay-at-home mom to my kids. COVID has definitely changed things this year. So I've been a homeschool mom and all kinds of things, but I'm a part-time reseller, and I share with people how I do what I do.
And you have two little ones.
I have two little boys. They are 6 and 8, but when I started, they were 2 and 4. So it's crazy. Time has flown.
So that's really exciting. In the beginning, there's a lot of people who are excited about reselling. Maybe they have a limited budget or they are scared to start. Maybe we can start the conversation with the people who are just getting started. What would you say to them?
Absolutely. It can seem really intimidating when you're starting. I felt the same way. I looked around for hours at Walmart, thrift stores. What sells? I have no idea. I looked up every single item. And over time, you do get a feel for what will sell, and it just starts to almost become like a sixth sense. But in the beginning, I would say keep your budget very small and just try a few items. You don't have to start with a million things and list 100 items a day and really grind right away. You can start small as you want. And over time, you'll start to get a feel for how eBay works, how the shipping works, and how Amazon works, whatever avenue you want to start in. And starting is just the best way. I know it sounds cliche, but just set up the account, go into it kind of blind, and sell your first thing or two. And before you know it, it'll all come to you very naturally by like osmosis. You'll absorb it.
So these things that you just mentioned, shipping, listing, looking up sold items to see what the market is, these are all foundational. And you do a lot of different things online, but I feel like, did you start with eBay? What was the first platform you listed on?
Yeah, so I actually started with Amazon, and I was doing Amazon for a good 6 or 7 months before I really discovered eBay and the eBay community. Started following my queen, Posh Hanger. As you guys know, she's just such an OG when it comes to eBay. And I didn't even know clothing was like something that people bought to resell. I had no idea that was a thing. I would just resell in the beginning books, electronics, anything new on clearance at like Walmart. That's like the only place I went to for a long time was Walmart. I would go to the clearance aisle and just see what I could find. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what sales rank was, but that was a lesson I was able to learn pretty quickly. I picked up a few things, realized, okay, sales rank matters on Amazon. I need to be a little bit more careful or else something might sit for a while. But still, everything I bought sold, and most of it sold for a profit. Packed up my very first box that same night that I went through or that I went sourcing for the first time. So like I learned about it from a podcast. I got really excited about it. Went to Walmart that night at like 11 p.m. It was a 24-hour Walmart. Came home, packed my first box from YouTube, sent it off at like 3 a.m. and was really excited to see what would happen. And sure enough, that just lit a fire under me. I got really excited about Amazon. Garage sales, yard sales, started picking up textbooks, which sell great on Amazon. Anything like remotes, VCRs, electronic equipment. I picked up music, DVD or CDs. And then from there, I would go thrifting and find all those same kinds of things, when garage sales died down, because I started in the summer. Sure enough, a few months later, I figure out, okay, eBay might be cool too. And that was the same process, although a little more difficult, because with Amazon, you can just scan a barcode with your phone and it'll pull up all the information that you need to know when it comes to how much it'll sell for, what the sales rank is, and that kind of thing. But with eBay, you're doing a little more work. You're looking at brands by hand, you're looking at comps. There's not really an obvious way you can see right away that like something is going to sell fast and for a lot of money. It's more of a slow burn, but it's in a way I'm almost more grateful for my eBay store than Amazon, because that's been so hard earned. And the knowledge that I have does not require looking up now. I can go in blind anywhere and find things to resell. I still look things up, but I still can go in just with my own knowledge and know what will sell on eBay and what won't. I can't do that for Amazon. Like I can't go into a library sale and go through books and go, oh, that'll be worth money on Amazon. Like I have no idea unless I scan it. So that's how I started. It started slow. I started with just $100. No, I started with $1,000. I was a freelance writer before I started doing reselling, so I had some money saved up. And with that $1,000, I reinvested it in my first year, made 30,000. Well, my first 7 months before 2017. So 2016, 30,000. And my husband was so excited because it was just multiplying. And then the next year, over 100,000. And then ever since then, I've just been trying to maintain that.
So this is a question that everyone always asks. In the beginning, did your spouse take you seriously? How did you approach letting him know?
Yeah. So my husband is an internal auditor for a big company. So his job is to audit and refine processes and like be super detail oriented. I'm very different in that I just jump into things very blindly and just do it and then make mistakes and like I don't even think before I act, which is we are a good combo together. But I didn't tell him I was even starting. I just did not even mention it. He just had no idea for the first week or two. And then I showed him my Amazon seller app and I'm like, "Hey, look at this." He's like, "What is that?" And I just explained, "These are sales I'm making because I sent stuff in." And he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. What?" Because I knew he's the type that would want to step back, do a ton of research, figure out what to sell, how to do it. Wait, Ash, let's hold on, let's wait before we dive in because it does sound kind of fake. It's hard to explain to people because they're just like, "What? That sounds really weird." But when you actually do it, you realize like it's like the Matrix. You just start to see like, wait, what? There's so much opportunity out here. So he got really excited after my first month or two when I started to really bring in some money.
Nick, did you have some question follow up?
I think at the end of the day, a lot of people, if your spouse sees you doing a lot of unnecessary work and not really having any kind of payoff or payout, I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to take you seriously. So once they start seeing you bring in a bit of bacon, maybe then they'll be a little more supportive. And I have seen wives and husbands, vice versa, who have proven that, you can make money and this is a legitimate business. And then their spouse even quits their job and helps them resell. And I think there's nothing more powerful than a husband and wife team that are supportive on anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the amount of time versus the amount of money you earn. And also the confidence that the person gets from that is totally different. If somebody's all of a sudden contributing now, they're earning extra money, they're paying for repairs, or they pick up a grocery bill here and there, that makes a huge difference in a lot of families. And you can't be afraid of things that don't sell. This is important because in the beginning, you're going to list something that nobody wants.
Exactly. You're gonna buy things for $10 that you thought would sell for 30 that didn't, or even $30 on something you thought would sell for 60 or 70. That's okay. These mistakes will happen. I think I still have stuff in my eBay store that's sitting from my very first thrift haul. It just happens, but you'll learn. You're not making like really worst case scenario, especially like on Amazon, even eBay is you sell it for what you paid and then you move on. You lose a little bit, you move on. And before you know it, you're just refining, refining, refining. Oh, this sold quickly last time. This style sells fast for me. This brand sells quickly for me. And then you'll just get into this rhythm and this habit of knowing like a sixth sense, like I said, what's going to sell for you and what doesn't. But experimenting is the only way. Luckily, this is a very, very, very low risk experiment. Like it's really hard to lose money when you're starting and you're doing like the thrift method or the clearance method or anything like garage sales. It just is almost, I would just argue it's impossible to lose money unless you're just really bad. You'd have
Well,
to be like abysmal at it to lose money.
Well, one thing we know, Tech and I always talk about flea markets and garage sales being a great place to start because the cost of goods is so low. But something you do that's different than a lot of people when they're getting started is you actually plan out the garage sale hunt. And I think a lot of people go at noon expecting to find crazy deals. That's not how it works.
No, it is not. And it really will, that you don't just go out and follow the signs and just the neon signs, right? And just think, oh, maybe this will be good. And then you hit a few garage sales, it's all baby toys, and you're like, wait, what? No, I make a map like well in advance. I'm making contact with some people who are running the garage sales ahead of time, letting them know, hey, do you have anything you could pull aside? Can I come look sooner? I write down a map. I'm strategizing an exact map that's going to take me to the most garage sales that have the most profitable keywords in their listings, like when they're advertising online. And I start out very early. I'm the very first one at every single yard sale. So that's a very key. Be right on time or early, even like up to an hour early if it's a really good one. And I'll just say I'm sorry if I arrive too early and wait in my car. But 99% of the time when I'm that early, they're just like, oh, have at it. We're just still unloading. And I remember one time I even, there was this amazing garage sale. I had a whole yard, you know, those like yard sized garbage bags for leaves. That
Mm.
was completely full of amazing designer clothing. And I was hauling it out. The garage sale started at 8. I was there at 7. I was hauling it out as someone was walking by me and recognized me and like was like, oh shoot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I think I just got everything. And the best part was the guy was like, how much that for this giant garbage bag? He's like, $100. I'm like, $100 would be great. And there was like Kappa, Gucci. It was like amazing. So again, I'm going to certain parts of the city as well.
Hmm.
There are certain parts that are just more, a little bit more lucrative.
Sure.
There's people who have more money. They're just getting rid of their things. That can backfire sometimes when they know the value of their item and they price it too high. But I'm very, very strategic, and I've made so many connections as well from these people locally that now call me or text me and just say, hey, I have all of this Lululemon. Can you come by sometime and just take it?
I
Yes. Or
suppose.
yeah. Or like, I have all these books that I'm getting rid of. They're reference books. Maybe you can come take a look at it. And I just let them know what I do. And they don't care. I have yet to have one person be upset that I'm a reseller. They don't care. Maybe like behind my back
No.
they're mad, but to my face they're fine. And I think we're all just trying to do what we can to make money for our families, right? So in the end, people want to get rid of their junk. They don't want to sell it themselves. I can come pick it up for a very fair price and we're all happy. So definitely
As
like the
far
flea
as
market connections, yard sale connections, all are super key.
as far as the route goes, do you use Yard Sale Treasure Map or something like that?
So I'll do that. That's not as accurate in my opinion because it pulls from Craigslist only, and
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist isn't as used here, at least in the Valley, Salt Lake Valley. Maybe other places it is. I go to Facebook Marketplace. People advertise their yard sales there. I'm a member of about 16 different yard sale groups in my area, and I will just scout those beforehand and see who's advertising their sale, what kind of pictures they have. I'll use, we have a local classified like online, like I'm sure everyone
Hmm.
has that. Your local newspaper has an online
Hmm.
website for news. They also have classifieds. I go there. Ours is called KSL.
Hmm.
And I go to the classifieds and I am just going through every single yard sale for days ahead. And the night before too, writing down locations that look promising and also mapping it out so that I'm the first one there with multiple in that area. And then I can move on. Like I have a whole star system that I like do. Then I go to the next area and I'm the first one at the most lucrative one. And I have a few more that I can hit in that area as well. And then I just continue to make my rounds until I'm all done. Luckily for me, like estate sales don't start till 10. So I have between like 7 and 10 to really hit a ton of yard sales. And then 10 o'clock to hit up whatever estate sale is starting, and then I'm good to go. But if people, yeah, are rolling out of bed late on a Saturday morning with no plan, it's not going to work out.
I love it.
There's a couple more things you did that are really amazing. One, you convinced your husband to go to different sales. I thought that was amazing because that's, if you're getting started, you want more opportunities to find cool stuff. If you split up, you're going to
Oh,
find some
yes.
stuff.
Yep. He'll split up with me. And on like a really good community sale day,
Yeah.
he'll go out with, on his own. I'll go out, and no offense to him, he's not quite as good But he knows how to scan, and he knows how to look for video games and consoles and books. So he'll often come back and have like everything stacked out and like have a sticky note on it for how much it's worth, how much he bought it for. It's like totally his personality. Whereas I just have like garbage bags full of just stuff. But
That's
yeah,
great.
like on a good day, oh gosh, if you have two in your team split up, there's always more than I can ever go to by myself. And that's what, when I hear people say there's not enough, everything's drying up, I never find good things. I just wish they could see the opportunities. They're there. There's more than I could ever get. That's just my mindset. And I don't know if it's, I'm being way overly optimistic, but I just truly believe there's just more than I can ever get myself. There's plenty for everyone. And if you just plan ahead, I swear, like, just go to the ones I missed and you'll get plenty.
That's absolutely true. Also, this is the question that, there's a few questions related to this. What do you do with your kids when you source? Does it mean you can only source a few hours a week? Do you take them with you? How do you handle that?
Yeah. So my husband watches them on garage sale Saturday mornings most of the time, unless again he's coming with me and we're splitting up. But on those days, I'll get a babysitter and we'll let the babysitter watch the kids. That's more rare. Usually, I wait until they're at preschool, school. Like I waited for the breaks to go source. I tried to have them come with me. I brought gummy bears, and I remember like, okay, I'm gonna give them one gummy bear for every 2 minutes they're being quiet, and like throwing it at their faces, like just stop, because they're like wanting to run around. They like going in between the clothes and like hiding in the little racks. I had to like call a code Adam to the employee one time because like I couldn't find my son, and sure enough, he was just camping out in one of those racks with like all the clothes on it. So I have learned it's just most efficient to go by myself. So usually I'm just waiting until they're, yeah, preschool with my husband. I have a neighbor who is just the sweetest woman ever. She has a drop-in daycare as well. So occasionally, once a week, back when my kids were little, I would drop them off for the morning at her house, and then I would go sourcing. And then I come home and just list whatever I can. I didn't really have a strict schedule for how often I could go out because I just was preparing myself for any and all contingencies. You never know who's going to be sick, who's going to throw up on the carpet, who's going to throw a tantrum, who's just going to need me that day. And you just kind of have to roll with the punches as a parent when you're the stay-at-home parent, at least.
Tech, when you were starting, you were rolling with a kid too. Um, and you mentioned earlier it's not ideal, but you still just made it work.
Yeah, when I first started, my son, he's about to be 18 now in March. So like I'm almost home free. So, but when I first started like 10 years ago, he was 7, 8 years old. And, I just gave him little tasks throughout the day that were helping me, but also involved him and, made him helpful. So like if we did go to a thrift, after I was looking over the clothes, I would have him the hangers off, have him put it nicely, or like, even when I was packing, like those clear tabs that go over the sticker, I would drop those on the floor and let them pick them up because it would take them 45 minutes to pick up 20 of those things because of the static electricity, and just anything to keep them busy, keep them motivated, keep them active. I would have him add up different things or, just clean up or put stuff nicely just to keep, the gears turning, keep them involved and keep them doing something productive.
I think this is
That's really
cool
smart. I
because
need to do that more with my kids for sure.
I just interviewed a 14-year-old
Yeah.
reseller that does his homework first and then 10 listings every day. And it's amazing if your kids see you being industrious, they may get involved too, not always, but they can copy what you're doing.
Definitely. And they can start to pay for their own things. They need to learn at an early age that nothing is handed to them. They need to earn everything that they get. We might be successful as parents on our own right, but that does not mean that they're just going to get everything handed to them by any means. So it is one way you can earn a lot of great money in high school. We know, Chris, a lot of great resellers who are teenagers who are just
Yeah.
killing it, and they're just, and I remember one 17 reselling, or now she's 18 reselling.
Yeah.
told me on Instagram, she's like, My parents just don't pay for anything. So I realized if I ever wanted anything, I'm going to have to work for it." And she just took off from there. I think that's so smart. So I want to adopt that as a parent myself, not give my kids too much and let them know they are going to have to work for things. And I've even heard like some great parenting strategies about taking taxes out of what they earn and then
Yeah,
pulling that out. And then as a family every month voting on where that tax money goes. But I thought
I
that would be
do.
kind of cool too.
I tax my son on every dollar he makes from me, and I make him save half.
That's
So like he asked to go to dinner the other day with his friend, and my first question was like, "You got money?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "All right, do your thing." But like he's paid for everything the whole time, and he probably has most money than most adults just because he's earned money for a long time in his life, and he's saved half of it at least. And just for like little tasks, like here, do this task, here's $1. Like when they're young, do this task, here's $2. And I always let them in half and save half. And now college time is coming up, so like he knows that costs money and like it's not free. So he knows the value of $1 even at 18 years old, and he's not frugal, but like he doesn't blow his money because it's not coming from daddy, it's coming out of his pocket. So start them when they're young. Like I said, have them add up some things like, hey, this clothes here, put the red ones with the red, the blue ones with the blue, just something depending on the age where they can get involved, like do feel a little bit of a part of it. And I think that goes a long way as they start to get older.
kids can leave hints too. What they like might be popular. So if you are
Mhm.
on trend with your kids, asking them what their friends are doing, and they, this is hard to cultivate, but if your kids start collecting things at a young age, they learn the value of money as well because they know they can collect more things if they're frugal or if they buy low when things come out, or they'll recognize trends. And that's the exact same foundations as looking up solds.
absolutely. And Tech, your son is light years ahead of not only his peers, but most adults, I would say. Sadly, I think a lot of adults don't even know how to manage money that well. So that's really cool. And that's very inspiring for me raising two little boys, hoping that they can turn out the same way. I hope.
So
This is how you do it the best way and the smartest way. You pay them and you write it on a ledger and say that's your bank account, and then you give them interest every month. So really, you don't even have to come pocket and pay them. The money's just in the air. So this dude has like tons of dollars. He's in the air. I never even came out of pocket on it. He's been collecting interest on it.
That's
that's awesome. I mean, that's like the value. Like I've heard of parents who charge their kids rent all and then give it back to them when college comes with interest to show them, look what happens when you invest money at a young age. And time is the big compounding factor here. If you, I mean, just saving half your money is a mind. It's such a crazy skill to give your kid. It really
But
is.
absolutely.
it can backfire because one time I forgot to go to the bank to go to the flea market, and I hit him up for $800 and he charged me interest.
I love that,
That's
and you should have. So.
Yep. Got nothing wrong with that. What's fair is fair.
awesome.
So I think I know the answer to this, Ashley, but what does your average day look like? And then how do you approach getting interrupted?
Absolutely. So I get up and I love to go run. That's a non-negotiable for me. It's for like my mental health. I will sacrifice time later in the day if I wasn't able to get up to go run. It's just something that helps me in a million different ways, gets my head clear. And I feel it when I haven't run for like even a day. I just feel less clear in my head, more cluttered, more anxious. I just feel behind in life. So I get up usually, I go run my route, and then I come back home. I hurry and try to do my shipping before the kids get up. But if they are up, I just say, "All right, guys, go do your morning routine." And this is my kids are older now. When they were littler, my routine looked different, but now they have school. So I guess I can, yeah, I'll go through a school day and then maybe an off day. But when they have school, I say, all right, go do your morning routine. And I have these little erasers that I bought. I don't have any here now. I got these like just giant 100 pack of these little erasers from Amazon that are like different. Everyone is different. There's like a panda one and a cupcake one or whatever. And the kids have little pouches and they collect them. So if they do their morning routine, which is, get up, make your bed, get dressed, jammies in the hamper, eat breakfast, get your vitamins, whatever, then they know they get their little, or they get to pick a little eraser. So that's just a small motivator. I'm trying to be as hands off as I need to be independent, right? So
Mhm.
my temptation is to just jump in and be like, all right, let's get you dressed. Let's just go do it. But I'm trying to be more like, all right, you guys know how to do it. Here's a reward if you do it. So I'm trying to get my shipping done. I have it now for postal pickup. So I put it out on the porch, and I have that already by the time the kids go to school. Then I'm able to take a shower and get ready for the day. I'm usually done by about 10 a.m. And then after that, it just depends on what's on my agenda that day. Do I need to film a YouTube video? Do I need to list, thrift, photograph? And I do try to think ahead. Okay, what videos am I trying to do this week? Because YouTube is a part of my income. It's a big part of my income. So I do have to think ahead with what I'm going to film that week. And I just tackle whatever I can. I had an interruption yesterday, in fact, so we can talk about that. My son got suspended from school in first grade. So he only got suspended because he was jumping on a toilet in the bathroom. He's a sweet kid, very obedient, but just like a monkey. So he was standing on a toilet in the bathroom, and the vice principal called me and was like, "We need you to come get him." So I'm like, "All right." So I brought him home, and he got in trouble and everything, but I just had to kind of pause my work, and that was fine. This is kind of why I don't know if my approach, I could probably be more successful if I had a different approach, but I'll just be honest with my approach. And it's just, I want to do as much as I can in a day, but I don't necessarily have a goal for how much I want to do, because every time I did that, I found myself disappointed. At this phase in my life, maybe not now. I guess my kids are in school. I can probably handle having more of a set goal of how much I want to list and do. But at least when my kids were tiny, I'd find myself at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. They had tantrums that day, or they had a really frustrating day. The house is a mess, and I needed to take a day to really clean it, deep clean it. I need to get groceries. I had some friends who had babies, and I need to make them meals and, do my duty that way. They're just things that happen. Or like there's a craft, or we're coming up on Christmas, and we have these traditions that we do. We build a big gingerbread house, and we make Oreo balls for all the neighbors, and we get Christmas cards going, and that's all falls on my shoulders as well. So when my kids were tiny, it just got really frustrating to have some kind of number goal, because I would inevitably hit roadblocks with just my kids. And um, I like the approach, at least at that phase in my life, of going easier on myself, because that is a very, very busy time. Being like a full-time stay-at-home mom is already a job. Like it's already a really busy job. So give yourself grace, other moms out there, give yourself a lot of grace, a lot of slack. And the biggest thing is you're just laying that foundation for your business, and you're going to launch it however far you want to launch it in the future. But your kids are tiny one time, that's it. And, cherish the memories as long as you can. Work when you can, when they're napping or whenever, but don't stress yourself out too much. I could probably be way farther along than I am now. I know I could, but I'm really happy with my current growth, and I've laid like brick by brick this foundation for my business with 1,500 positive feedback, and a YouTube channel with 60,000 subscribers, and an Instagram, and an Amazon store with a ton of great feedback, and I'm ungated and everything. I know I'm not doing a ton with it, like as much as I maybe could, but I've laid all these little pockets of potential money making. And now with a little bit more time, I can just build on those and add a little bit more time to them and watch them grow. So that's, I think, is the key. Go easy on yourself, take it day by day, do what you can in the day, and then let go. If at the end of the day you're able to list one thing, awesome. Aim for two the next day if you can, and it'll all work out. The world didn't end because I didn't get X amount of listings up in a day for me. But at the same time, I am in a unique position where my husband does make a full-time income for our family. He can cover the finances for our family. So I didn't necessarily have to have the urgency that a lot of single parents have. So I want to be sensitive to that. But if you are in that position, like I kind of was, give yourself a little bit of grace and some slack, because the time will come later where you can really go full steam ahead.
You go really hard when you can. I feel like that's all you can do. There's no other way to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
There's
think
the
like
Go
building
ahead.
on top of that is you know, it's all easy for us to get consumed with work, get consumed and become a workaholic, but on the flip side of the coin, like it does allow us the flexibility on schedule where even after everything that I do all day, I still can take my son to school. I still can pick him up. I never have to ask a boss to go to a baseball game or to go to a school play. So like there's way more positives than there is of the negative of that it can consume you. I mean, your day and your life and your business are what you make of it and how you structure it. So like even after everything that I do, I've never missed a baseball game. I've never missed a play. I've never missed any kind of thing like that because eBay does offer you that flexibility of you can get up and do whatever you want to do on your schedule. There's no boss. What if you had to ask your boss for permission to see your own kid playing a baseball game and they say no? Like how do you explain that to a kid, or how do you it's hard to live with that, and eBay allows that flexibility where you don't have to ask anybody permission to do anything.
It's so true. I would do like I love that you said that, and I agree because I would do anything to not have a boss again, ever. Ever,
Hmm.
ever. I've tasted it. I know what it's like now. It's amazing. I own my own schedule. There's no ceiling. And like I would would do whatever it takes to stay on this path of no boss. And I hope one day I can bring my husband aboard and like we can both be a team and not have that boss looming over us. Like he does, unfortunately. He has deadlines. He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
reports he needs to get in. He has late meetings. He has like meetings with China, he has to talk
Hmm.
to early in the morning or late. So he like is under that
And it
those reins
sucks.
right now. It's not great. He has to miss
Yeah.
things.
Yep.
But we, like you said, we don't ever have to. If we It is a
Right.
grind, but if we schedule our own time in an efficient way, we can hit all of those great things with our kids. Go to the games, go to the plays, the
Hmm.
activities, and really soak them in while we can.
Or what if both of you had bosses and then your kids don't get to do anything? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like eBay allows you so much freedom where like I said, it's easy to get consumed and taken over, but like I'm consumed and taken over, I'll be honest, but I carve things out and I never miss anything. So like there's a huge upside and huge benefit. It just all depends on how you structure and how you do it.
Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about your partner Ashley, and how does your husband support your time? Because I know this is important. Some people are doing it solo. Other people are trying to convince their partner to maybe play a more active role. Maybe they want to get involved. Do you have any tips on people to get their partner more involved, or um, getting them more on board?
Yeah. I do everything at least for my businesses by myself. He doesn't really help with like listing or anything like that, except the occasional sourcing on a yard sale Saturday. But he does help with the kids and he helps, he makes dinner once a week. He doesn't, I shouldn't say he's not a good cook. He doesn't like to cook. So it's hard for him, or he never grew up cooking. So he he'll do that. He'll get a meal ready, for the kids, or if I've already made it, he'll scoop it up. He puts the kids to bed every single night so that I can work. So I'm off by around 7ish, and he knows that I'm able to do whatever I can from like 7 to 10. I work a lot of nights. As you said, like when you're consumed with this and you do want it to succeed and you feel that momentum and you want to like hit the gas, you're working a lot and it's great. Like you're building on that foundation, but you are working a lot. So he does help a lot, and he's on board too. Like we're a team. And he and I have had a lot of these conversations lately, actually, about how we are a team together. We have to work together to make all of these exciting strides that we want to make. And when he's working a ton, or probably the hardest time recently was when we were finishing our basement. He was doing that a ton, like because he wanted to do it himself. So he was working on the basement a ton, and I was with the kids full time, even putting them to bed, making meals, pick up and drop off from school, homeschool when we were back during quarantine. And it was a lot, and I had no time to work on my business unless I wanted to literally not sleep, because he was also working on the basement. So I really felt it when like he was out of the equation. when it came to my business. So I appreciate his support a ton. And we're definitely a partnership and a team. So my success is his success and his success is my success. And like, we're just both trying to do the most we can with what we've been given. And we'd hate to like let this cool opportunity just fade away to nothing, because maybe he doesn't, if he were the kind of dad that didn't really want to be as hands-on, but luckily he is. And like Tech is an extremely hands-on dad too. And that's just like, I'm lucky that he is that way. So yeah, we're a team. We're working towards the same goals together, and we're just trying to make it work whenever we can.
Do you feel like flow happens when your kids are asleep? That's probably the most. About to start. So people are saying get as much done as you can when they're asleep, because when they're awake, you really have no idea.
Yeah, they're pretty unpredictable. Yep, when they're awake. Yeah, sleep time, nighttime has become like my jam. Like I, even now, like back when they were little to now, even everyone's asleep, including like my husband often. And I'm just like, all right, I'm in the zone. I'm working. I'm a night owl anyway. And I'm trying to like get videos edited and done and have all these visions and goals for things I want to do. But nighttime is really the best for sure, at least for me. I can just do a marathon sprint. No one's interrupting me. No one, husband included. No one's interrupting me. And I can just really focus. For so many years, all I was able to do was work in just hour chunks at a time, hour long, 2 hours at the most. And so at night, it is nice when you get like a good 7 hour stretch if you want to just stay up really late, burn the midnight oil. And I got a ton of work done then. Not healthy, but it works.
I remember you mentioning like this like checklist of things that you were doing, like got to make sure my eBay store stays alive, sending boxes a box in the FBA, doing a YouTube video. But you've kept over time, you have built all of these, which I think is important. Some of them grow slower than others, but overall, year over year, all of those platforms are, you've learned more, your
Mhm.
foundation is stronger. I think it's important that the health of your Amazon account is awesome. You may not be able to have a ton of feedback on any platform, but you can maintain a perfect account. You're ungated in everything. That's like an asset for the future.
Right, exactly. And it's just like juggling balls in the air and just trying to keep them all afloat is as much as you can. And I don't always do a perfect job of it by any means, but I just try to, like you said, keep eBay alive, keep YouTube alive, keep them all alive, and maybe not thriving all the time, but just keep those, because they are like streams of income. I just want to have the streams of income available in there, and it would just be so detrimental if I completely cut one out. Like it would just be like if I let Amazon die, I'd be so sad, because Amazon is just such a crazy moneymaker, or eBay or any platform. So, or YouTube, even YouTube can be mentally draining. I know, Chris, you know that, but I would hate to let it die because it does have so much potential, and I would hate to let any of that go. And then at the same time, keep my kids alive and keep them thriving and happy. And I have had instances where I was not dealing with that very well and wasn't balancing my kids and my family life very well. We were eating way too much takeout. The house was just always a disaster. I was always trying to work, and my kids are just like, when they act up, that's for me when they're like, Mom, we want your attention. And so I after like too long of that, I go, okay, no more. I can't be too invested in the business that I neglect what's most important, which is always going to be my kids and my home and my family, number one, and then keep that thriving the most for sure.
I remember you visited me and your two boys were running around, but very polite. But I'm super happy that they're able to be free. It's not like you're controlling them. Like here's an iPad while I work. You let them roam and be curious, but you
Sorry.
still you get no, you get the information that you need. I feel like that's really important. Your kids are going to do what they do, and let them be. I think it's really powerful to watch you balance all that, because that's a lot on your plate.
Well, they wouldn't eat the kimchi, so I'm sorry about that. They wouldn't
No.
try it. But yeah, no, I do let them roam. I let them explore. They'll know. They'll figure out something to do to like keep themselves occupied. And often, they come and they need like a second. Hey, Mom. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Do you want to read to me while I'm cooking? Or do you want to read to me while I'm doing some listing, or they know I'm always available, which I do like. Again, that's another blessing of working from home, owning my time, is I'm here and I'm available to them. And I know I'm going to get interrupted and I'm not too upset about it.
So I have another question for you. You're in your eBay room right now. I can see the inventory in the back. Do
Don't look
you
too close.
do your kids know like you're in work mode, or there's certain areas they're not supposed to be in? Do they have any idea of like the areas that you work from? And I know that desk you just posted it on Instagram. Looks nice, the
Yeah.
workspace.
Yes. Yeah. I just updated my workspace recently. I actually have a sign. I wish I could grab it. It's on my door handle and it just says, it has one side that has a stop sign. It just says, stop, mom's working. Please don't interrupt unless you're bleeding or sick. That's like one we've laid out. Are you bleeding? Are you sick? Don't bother me. And then that's most of the time I don't have that on. And then the other one is, it's green, it's got a big check on it and it says you can come in, like you're welcome to come and talk to me. They know not to. I too often I've had my dymo labels where they all completely fall apart because my kids think it's just such a fun toy that like they're just everywhere, or they grab like scissors, or they have just a heyday, and they know better than to do that now. So if I don't keep it locked when I'm not in here, it has the sign on it, and they know better now. Maybe when they were little, they'd get in to more stuff, but they know this is my workspace, and they know that this is how we pay for a lot of fun things that we do. This is how we've paid for Disneyland. This is how we've paid for, birthdays and our basement and all these fun things that we do. So I think they're seeing that example that like mommy works too. Mommy has things she does too. And I'm not 100% of the time available to them. And I've learned to be okay with that, because I kind of don't think that's healthy that they just learn, well, this is all mom functions as, is my playmate, and that's all she is. I love playing with them. I do play with them every day, quality time. But there are times when this is not a time when I'm playing with you guys. You can go figure it out what to do for yourselves. And I think that's healthy. They need to learn that mom and dad are not always here for my entertainment.
I love it. Tech, do you have any other questions for Ashley?
Well, like I said, like a lot of this journey kind of been in the same boat. My son was a little bit older, but like she's just been saying, like you got to find some way somehow to get everything done over the course of one day. And it doesn't stop when they're 12, 13, 14, 15. Like I said, my son's about to be 18, and like he'll interrupt my day any given day as well. So like you just have to learn to balance the business, balance life, balance the kids, balance the spouse. And as long as everyone is on board and on the same page, then, that's just a recipe for success. So like, like we talked about before, like the best thing that, my wife has ever told me is not telling me anything at all. Like she's never told me that's enough, or we have enough, or we're doing good, or you're working too much. And for my personality, that's the kind of person that I need. And the same thing for my son. Like he knows all of this that I do provides everything that we have. So like we're all on the same page and we're all supportive of each other. And the biggest thing at the end of the day.
I love it. So Ashley, remind people where they can find you online.
Yeah, it's just at Hustle at Home Mom on every platform, everywhere you look. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So everyone can join me there and follow my very whatever my journey is, whatever you want to call it, you can follow along.
I love it. And I'm just going to leave everyone with one final thought, which is I like how on Instagram you share everything and it always looks like your kids are playing in the background. Because I feel like this is important to realize that it's going to look a little bit messy trying to get everything done. It's not, things are going to fall through the cracks. You just got to move on, and it's not going to look like a fairy tale. Trying to get, it's messy, even without a business.
Right, exactly. It's just, it does not look like a perfect Pinterest photo, and that's okay. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think I want that life, and I don't know if I want that for my kids. I want them to see that this is what our life is. I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't. The messes, the playing, the laughter, the screaming at times in the background, the unplugged routers, the fiascos, but then also the hugs and kisses and the cuddles. I really wouldn't have it any other way.
I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks, you guys. It's an honor.